What's up, guys? I'm Jacob Suggs, and today I'm joined by Inside of Mind,
Hi.
and we're going to be doing a commentary track for 10 Cloverfield Lane, also known as
Yes.
that movie that we both really love.
Yes, my favorite in the Cloverfield franchise.
Hey, I'm with you. We're going to get crap for
Oh,
saying that,
good.
but it's so
Really?
good. Yeah, apparently, there's a lot of people that are like, it's not as good as Cloverfield. And I mean, I get
Really?
how some people could think that, but I mean, I don't know. This one
No,
resonates with me a
I
little bit more.
disagree. I mean, are they watching the same movie? I'm sorry. I just
Oh
love
man,
Howard's performance. Wait, Harold's performance.
the fact that it's done by a first-time director too is just like really inspiring for like I guess like somebody
Yeah.
like me who's like an independent filmmaker and wants to make films. Like I would have if you would have shown me this and not told me anything, I would have guessed that this guy's done work before, but he hasn't.
Mm,
And Dan Trachtenberg really did a stellar job with this film.
he did. It was really good. I
Real question though is, do
personally.
you think that
Oh,
guy has the voice of Bradley Cooper though? He doesn't
what?
look like he
Sorry.
has the voice. Oh, the guy in the photo is supposed to have Bradley Cooper's voice.
Oh,
Because
right.
it's Bradley Cooper who calls her later on in the car. But he does not look
Uh,
like a man that has Bradley Cooper's voice.
Right, I get you. I'm caught up now. Uh,
I went a little bit ahead on that joke, but we're okay now.
yeah. Well, there you go. Foreshadowing of the phone call right there. Oh dear.
Sometimes I'm just too ambitious for myself.
I mean, do you remember the last one? I mean, I think you did a joke that was literally
Oh, man.
5 minutes too late. I was recording. I was doing the highlights for the video because I was gonna look to put it on the outside of my channel, and I got to that part and I was like, oh, I completely forgot you did this, and
Yeah.
I was like, you were so out of time with that.
I knew it was coming, but I guess I hadn't seen the film in forever. So I was like, oh, well, I just screwed up big time, but it's okay. Hey, look, it's foreshadowing.
I mean, you did it again, and they're still not at the phone call yet.
I know.
But yeah, going to what I was saying, the reason why I probably love this movie is because I love kind of stuff that takes place in just one area. Because one of my favorite shows at this moment in time is Inside Number 9, and it's literally about a show that takes place in just one room or one specific location. And I love the ideas that you can create from that. Like, it's solely focused on the characters at that point because you can't rely on the background too much, and with them being in one space,
Right.
it's down to the performances that makes the movie. And obviously, who does a fantastic job
Oh,
at
absolutely.
looking
I'm still mad that it
terrifying.
didn't get, at least a nomination at the Academy Awards. Still kind of
Thing
ticks
it
me off.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because he was just, I didn't realize how good he was at acting until I saw this movie, because
Uh-huh.
I've always kind of just, when I've seen him, I've been like, oh, he's just kind of playing himself. But then when I saw this movie, I was like, holy crap, that is something else. Even
I'm
when he
with
first came into like that first scene where he just walks in, it's like he seems a little different than what I've usually seen
Yeah.
him in.
Well, it's weird
Oh.
because like I've always admired John Goodman as an actor. Like I've always thought that he was like a good actor, but it's like I never knew I could be so terrified of him.
No, I know. I genuinely never did. I've just got a new level of respect for the guy after he did that. It was
Absolutely.
great. Oh, we missed the slush show. Oh,
We did.
it's
We
screwed.
forgot to mention it. We're gonna get like shot down, and the
Yeah,
Kelvin, the gas
you
station.
didn't. Yeah, exactly. We could have connected it to Super 8 and all the other movies that J.J. Abrams put together with a Kelvin space station. Do you think Star Wars will eventually have a Kelvin petrol station just like randomly in space?
Well, I know that JJ, he did cast his friend as the character of Snap Wexley, who's like a rebel pilot in The Force Awakens. And I do know that he's like a huge Beastie Boys fan. And if you've seen Star Trek Beyond, you kind of know that because in that film they have some Beastie Boys stuff. But I think that oh yeah, I was gonna say that one of the rebel pilots in that film is actually named Elo Asti, and it's a reference to Hello Nasty by the Beastie Boys. So I mean, JJ loves his references, so
He
I
does.
wouldn't be surprised if we got like a Cloverfield reference in Star Wars. But I mean, I
think
don't
we
really
will.
know.
Some people were talking about a reference possibly coming up in the Godzilla movie. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because those things are always connected to each other. As in, like, the fan base always connects them. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a director or someone decides to throw in something there that connects
Well, you
to
know, in
both.
Pacific Rim Uprising, they actually have like one of the skeletons of like Clover's head, I guess.
Do they?
Like, yeah, it has like all of the skulls from. Well, first off, it's not a good movie. I hate Pacific Rim Uprising. Not a fan. I like the first one a lot, but that one was just not very good in my opinion. But
I never looked to the second one. I was just like, I wasn't really. I didn't mind the first one, but I was like, I'm not too bothered about the second one. But, yeah.
Well, they do have a Cloverfield reference in the second one,
Oh,
which
do
is something
they?
that I caught, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool, but it doesn't change the fact that I've had to sit here for 2 hours and think that this movie was bad.
I waited 2 hours to see it. Disappointing.
I do think it'd be cool if they somehow made like the Cloverfield monster somehow an alien in Star Wars. Like maybe like I don't
Yeah,
know,
like
not
like
the monster
like a
itself, but like a
like
small
there being-
one that has like the head of Clover.
I
like a
don't
small
know.
thing.
I'd like to see it like, being put to work or something like that. It's like carrying really heavy artillery stuff or something like that. Just like
So in
just like-
reality,
you know, like-
he's not
you know,
this
like-
giant scary monster. He's
Yeah.
just a construction
And
worker.
exactly,
working 9 to 5.
he's just a giant tractor. That's all he is. It's just like, it's a space tractor. That's we just got our entire town destroyed by a space tractor. It's just
Well, there is a giant monster in Star Wars. It was in the Clone Wars, the animated show. And I'm about to geek out for like 3 seconds, but like, it was called the Zillo Beast, and it's like this giant Godzilla-sized monster. And there's like an episode centered around it. There's 2 episodes actually, and they're pretty interesting. Nobody talks about it though, so
really. Oh.
yeah, there's like a giant monster in Star Wars that nobody talks about.
Let's
swear
ignore
the
the giant
atmosphere of
space
this film-
monster. It's just what? I think you cut off there. What did you say?
I was just saying like the atmosphere, because like I love the paint halfway on the walls. It's just like something that I've always liked because it's just like visual symbolism, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. This whole movie has like a Twilight Zone kind of vibe to it that I've always kind of dug.
This movie mainly reminds me of a play that was... Oh, I can't remember his name. I can't remember... what was his name? Something Kelly or something like that. But he wrote not at the World's End. Before the... It's something at the end of the world or something like that.
Seeking a friend for the end of the world?
No,
Is that it?
it's or before the end or something. Before... I have to properly search it, but it's about a woman waking up in a bunker with her neighbor, and her neighbor has told her that the end of the world has come, and they need to survive down here. She doesn't remember much other than a night out and passing out, and as that progresses, she starts to wonder, is the world really over? Because he seems very unstable, this man, and it is just them two. So the entire play, it's supposed to be in a bunker, and I think it's great for a play because obviously it's just one place. So you've just got this dialogue between these two people, and you can see that he's slightly unstable in certain areas, and you start to panic. Is the world really over, and stuff like that? And so
So
it
is that
comes
what
to
this is like based on, or like?
I have no idea, to be honest, but it was a play that I was doing during my year at college, and when this came out, it reminded me of it, and I was like, oh, this is quite cool to see something like that on screen, and I was like, really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, a third
By the way, I've
person.
always loved this cut. I don't want to interrupt you, but I've always thought this was cool. Just
How
like the
dare
way the
you.
phone slides and then her hand grabs it. Like, that's so
It's
cool.
nice.
Oh, I love it.
It's nice. It's very clever put together. And then there's the little shot of telling us what date it is. Oh, look at that. The 7th on a Monday. March 2016. I'm so analytical. Woohoo. No service, though. Yeah, I'm certain it was... I think it's after the end or something like that. There must be.
I'll look into that. That actually sounds pretty cool. I've never heard of that.
It's a play, but he's also published it as a book. And that's what we did. We had to perform like a scene from it. We had to pick a specific scene and then perform it for the rest of our group. And so I obviously played as the unstable guy. So it was fun. I like playing as unstable people in performances.
So I guess you had to say. So I guess that you had to get inside his mind.
You do. You have to get into his head.
See what I did there? That was a bad joke, but I tried to make it work.
You tried to make it work. You always try to make it work.
And it just failed horribly yet again. I'm not good at making commentary. It's kind of a curse, but...
I mean, you missed your previous joke earlier with the phone, so, you know...
I did. That one didn't land as well as I thought it would.
You missed that, and then when it actually happened, you didn't bring it up either, so it was like...
I know.
Oh, dear.
Well, hey, fun fact, that's Bradley Cooper. Even though I've mentioned that like 40 times already.
You know that phone call 5 minutes ago that we just missed? Yeah.
There he is.
I just want to give him a hug.
I mean, hey, his daughter got taken away. He's had a rough
Yeah,
one.
exactly. The guy just needs a hug. It's all he needs. He's like kidnapped 5 different women, but you know, I think he just needs a hug.
Yeah. Deep down, he's just one big old softie.
Yeah, exactly. He just wants to be loved.
Oh man, do you remember like seeing the trailer for this film for like the first time? Because I have a crazy story of like how that happened for me.
I didn't know much about the Cloverfield world at that point when I saw the trailer. I just saw it in. Like I said, it just brought back the after the end vibes from that play, and I was like, ooh, this looks kind of interesting. But I never got around to seeing it. And then obviously when I learned about the whole Cloverfield stuff, it was like, oh, I've got to see this after I've watched the first movie. So what's your story?
Okay, my story was literally the night before the trailer came out. I was hanging out with my youth pastor, and like nobody that I know in real life like really is as big into Cloverfield as like we are. And so he was like the only one that I had to talk to about it. So like we were just hanging out one night, and we were just like talking about movies, and Cloverfield was brought up. And I remember that we were driving back to his house to like watch a movie or something. And he said to me, do you think that we're ever going to get a Cloverfield 2? And I said, no. And if we did, it wouldn't like, I don't know how it would work. I just don't see it happening. Next day, I wake up to a text from him that says Cloverfield 2. And I was like, this has got to be a joke of what we were talking about last night, whatever. Checked it out. Nope. Sure enough, it's a real movie, 10 Cloverfield Lane. And that whole day, I remember I went to school, and through all of my classes, it was my senior year of high school. And I remember I was just like completely in shock. And it instantaneously became my most anticipated of the year right then and there. And
so that means you guys are psychic.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I like to think that I created the Cloververse. But...
Yeah, exactly. You should get with your friend and say, you know what, we need money falling from the sky, and then just go home and then hope for the best.
Yeah, I've thought about that quite a few times, but I don't think it works that way. I think it's just movies specifically.
If it's just movies, then you should get together and go, hey, you know what would be cool if Pixar stopped making sequels, and then, hope for the best and as then, well. Yeah.
Well, hey, Cars 3 wasn't that bad.
I haven't seen Cars 3.
However, is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I haven't seen Cars 3, sorry. I forgot that it was even a thing, I think, until, only last week. I saw Incredibles 2, though. I've mixed feelings on it.
That? Okay, yeah.
I haven't seen the reviews on it, but as I was watching it, I was like, this is alright, but the story's very predictable in where it's going to be going. And then, when it happened... the whole twist came out and people started, spoiler alert for Incredibles and stuff. But, when they're being mind controlled, that part and onward was pretty interesting. All the way up to the part where they actually got their goggles knocked off. I was like, that lasted way too short in a nearly 2-hour movie. Why wasn't that the main focus, where Violet and Dash have to be the heroes without their parents? They could have done a growing up story where they have to, where they usually had their parents looking out for them, keeping them safe, but now they have to be the ones to take over because their parents are getting older. And I thought that'd have been so cool to see that, because their parents can't do anything. And then wouldn't it have been cooler if that happened near, the whole Elastigirl story happens, but it happens within the first 20 minutes of the movie. And then the rest of the movie has them mind controlled, and Violet and Dash take Jack to Edna, and that's how the Jack gets his suit, and then they have to, learn from there. I just think that'd be so much better, because that's where it started getting exciting. Because I think the favorite part of the favorite scene for me was when those superheroes came along and were going to take the kids, and then Frozone just appears, and I was like, oh, that's pretty badass. I don't know.
Yeah. I love whenever Void, the portal girl, like looks at Dash and she's like, "Hey, little fella." It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that I love. But I did like it. I don't love it like the first one, obviously, but like,
no.
Here's the thing. I love the characters. I love the themes. I love the story and where it was going and how it was like a reverse of the first one. My problem is that I feel like the pacing kills that movie in some areas for me. Because, like, you'll have a scene to where, like, Bob's at home, like, with the kids and doing stuff, and then you're going to go back to, like, Elastigirl doing stuff, and it just does not flow as well as like, it did in the original film.
I personally don't like the whole idea of the roles reverse. Well, just mainly because, I guess, like you said with the pacing, the fact that it just lasts so long, I just kind of... Because the idea of a superhero family... And the best you could come up with is just, hey, let's switch the roles.
Yeah.
That was just the disappointing part. I love the part with obviously Bob having to look after the kids and it goes horribly wrong for him and all that. And
that
Jack, those parts. But then you cut to Elastigirl. It's like, and she's like, I wonder who the bad guy is. Hey, mysteriously over. Hyper woman, can you just do this stuff for me to try and track down the bad guy? You seem to be clearly on edge, but I'm gonna ask you to help me, please. It's just it was just so obvious. I mean, I think the biggest twist was the brother isn't in on it too, so it's like
Well, spoilers for Incredibles 2. If you guys haven't seen it, then we've just ruined the movie for you.
I already said...
the movie's been out for, like, what, since, like, June? So I guess if you haven't seen it by this point...
Well, I already said spoilers at the very beginning when I was talking about this, so...
true.
So, yeah. So, you beat to it. Now let's get back to the movie that we're watching.
Actually, before we get back to the movie, let's talk about that really awesome short film that kind of coincides with this movie that we saw last night.
Oh,
that's a great meme of Howard smiling.
I love that. That's great.
I've used that so many times as like a response to people. But yeah, what did you think about? I know that you were the one who actually sent it to me. Because you saw it first, the Megan proof of concept thing?
I did. I got a message from someone going, the next Cloverfield short film. I'm pretty certain the person who messaged me was part of the movie. Was either had something to do with it, because it was on only like 50 views at that point. And so I was thinking, okay, if someone's tweeted me, you're the only person who's tweeted me that with 50 views, so you must be a part of it, but I'll give it a watch anyway. And I was like, oh my god, this is actually amazing. I'm so glad I checked this out now. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. There's just so many references in there, and I absolutely... But if you're a Cloverfield fan, that's perfect. That's your Rogue One of Cloverfield. It's amazing. It's like,
it really is. Actually, that's the perfect way to describe it. Because the weird thing is I know that we were talking about this earlier, but like, the cool thing is that I was thinking about like how cool it would be to have a story revolving around Howard and Megan, or mainly around Megan, because that's his daughter. If you didn't know that already. Well, I know that you know. I'm just saying that people that like.
I know. I was just agreeing with you. Don't worry, it's fine.
But I was thinking, man, it would be really cool to have a story centered around her, and then you could have like kind of that family connection too. Because all of the Cloverfield movies start with like a broken relationship and people kind of in a broken state of their lives.
Yeah.
And by the end, it's fixed, but like through like a sense of dread throughout the entire film. So for like the first one, it's Rob and Beth. For this one, it's Michelle and her fiance. I can't remember his name. And then you have in Paradox, Ava and her family and stuff. So it's like all of the films kind of have that family connection, so it kind of fit in line
Yeah.
I think with that, but like seeing it actually come out and be a reality, it actually was pretty good. It was a bit too short, but honestly, like I can kind of overlook that considering it had.
I was gonna say, yeah,
value.
I don't think there's much they can do with how short it was, because obviously the budget and stuff that they've had to actually put it together. I think it's perfectly fine, because the good thing is with stuff like that, that's all you kind of need to get someone's attention, like J.J. Abrams, to go, hey, you guys seem to know what you're doing. Why don't you look into making the next Cloverfield movie or so in those areas? But or just make certain something. It can push you into that, send you into a different job. Well, have I gone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Or oh dear. Has it all? Has the audio gone?
Yeah, the audio was gone for a minute there, but I can hear you now.
I was about to say I've got connection on mine, so I was like, why is it not working? Oh no.
Oof, that scared me for a minute there, but we're okay now.
It's like, no, we're already 20 minutes into the movie. Oh dear.
Oh man.
But yeah, I loved all the references. The main thing that I probably loved, well, I loved quite a few things, but there's all the references that we'll get to. But the main one I definitely love looking back is the fact that we just had someone playing Ganu Yoshida.
Yeah.
Because I just love it. I've always wanted him to appear in a movie. I know he was seems to be the main mastermind behind it, which I'm not the biggest fan of him being, but I like him being this mysterious guy that's been doing something bad.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad to see someone actually finally play this guy. And I even like his little line, your crazy father was right. Or no, not so crazy after all, or whatever it is he says. But yeah, it's just a shame we've had 3 movies and he's never been appeared anywhere in it. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I
kind of like him being the faceless enemy, if that makes sense. But I
know what you mean, but I like to have him just he somewhere appear where he's like, he doesn't need to be in the scene going, I am evil and a villain. Just like an interview, like I said for the first movie, I'd have loved him to be just like on a news report and he's getting interviewed about his slusho drink, and he's a bit he's really happy and nice. So and that almost becomes menacing when he's just acting perfectly normal, and then about the ARG and the stuff he's been doing. So it's like, that's quite creepy.
Well, hey, speaking of Cloverfield, guess what just happened while we're watching this?
What?
J.J. Abrams has officially made a Twitter page, and he's now active on Twitter instead of being private.
No, really?
Yep, sure is.
Everybody
that's not
needs
major.
to
I feel like
tweet.
I just kind of led everybody on to believe that the new Cloverfield movie was announced as we were doing this.
Yeah. You did, yeah. How dare you? I was getting excited then. You just misdirection. I bet the title of this video is just going to be a blatant misdirection for people. It's like, you'll never guess what happened while we're watching this commentary track.
Well, now we can use it as clickbait for more views.
I'm going to actually take this specific clip of this last 3 minutes of this convo, and I'm going to put it on my channel, and I'm going to go, you'll never guess what happened during this commentary track. That's actually pretty cool, though. I'm going to tweet him like mad now.
Well, it's cool that he actually has one now, because for the longest time it was just Bad Robot, which is doing giveaways and stuff.
Yeah, well, he had it's really weird. Someone tweeted to me a profile for J.J. Abrams, and it was private. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, and I can't remember if it was verified. Is this one verified?
This one is verified, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just at J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, because I think there was a Twitter account. I'm sure there was a Twitter account that was private, that was verified, and it was him. But because it was private, you couldn't see anything. So, what is the at? Is it at J.J. Abrams?
It's just at J.J. Abrams, and he's not following anyone, but he's got 166 followers. So
I think. Is it a private account or is it public?
It's public, but it is verified.
All right. Yeah, I think I think it literally was the same one I found, but he must have had it at some point and then just kept it private for now.
That's what I'm thinking too. Because it says joined October 2017, so.
Yeah, exactly. I would have thought someone would have taken his name by now, like made a fake one. But yeah. I love this movie.
I do too. We should probably start talking about the movie because we haven't
really.
I
don't know. I like distracting myself and talking about completely different things. Well, actually, we haven't. Not completely unrelated, are they?
No, it's still Cloverfield related. So we're in the clear.
We're still good. We're talking about Cloverfield facts that people don't know about. It's excited. that short film as well has gone up quite fast. It's on 1,000 views now, so I'm really glad that it's building up more momentum. Hopefully, I'll add more to it.
I'm glad to hear that. It seemed like there was a lot of passion put behind it, and I can definitely respect that.
I was very shocked that it only had like 100 views at one point. For that amount of effort gone into it, I'm thinking, there must... Surely the production or whoever funded it must have some kind of fan base or an area where they're going to promote it. And they must do, because now there's getting more people watching it. I'm hoping to make a video now and definitely get J.J. Abrams' attention now that we've got.
Can we talk about how we tried to get, speaking of famous people, can we talk about how we tried to get Dan Trachtenberg for this commentary and failed horribly?
Tried to get who? You cut off, as you said.
Dan Trachtenberg. Remember how we tried to... We were looking so hard to get Dan for this commentary, and it just didn't pan out.
It didn't pan out too well. We were just like... I did send out a tweet, didn't we? And it was like, nope, rejected.
Yeah.
And then we tried to find see if there's any contact information we could actually get. It was like, oh no.
I mean, I've still got Bad Robot's phone number. We could call him right now.
We should call. It's like, hey, anybody here ready for a commentary? We're in the middle of it, but love
just
to.
Just calls Bad Robot. Hey, is J.J. Abrams there? I want to talk to J.J.
We actually said we should try that. Just call up and be like, hey, is J.J. Abrams there? I wonder how many people actually do that. I am certain someone must have done that, where they call up the secretary and be like, hey, is J.J. Abrams there?
Nah, he's making a Star Wars right now, so...
Could I speak to him? No, he's making a Star Wars now, I just said. Stop calling me. I was fired from there 5 years ago. Stop calling me. Oh, dear.
And then there's like a giant pause.
Is J.J. Abrams? Is J.J. Abrams there? Just says it again. Oh, dear.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about how great the music is in this film? It's so good.
I love the silent parts as well. I love some of the silent parts as well, because it really helps build that tension.
Yeah, especially with Emmett and the gun later on, like before he dies.
Oh,
that
God,
really
yeah.
Because that sound is just so jolting, and they've done such a great job of like...
I was not expecting
building it up. I wasn't expecting it either.
I literally... I think I saw the trailer for this, like, once, and then I never saw much about it again until I watched the movie, so I literally knew nothing about it going in other than what I'd seen in the trailer, and I literally was not sure what it was. And so to see that part happened with with Emmett, I was like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that what was it? I saw 13 Hours in theaters with my dad, and I really just had no desire to watch it at all. And I was just kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to go for Cloverfield. Sure enough, they showed the trailer, and my dad was like, all right, whatever. And I had to sit through 13 hours, but it was worth it to see the trailer. And then, like, a couple weeks later, was, like, the Super Bowl, and they had a spot for 10 Cloverfield Lane there. And the only thing that I remember not liking about it was that it showed Michelle in front of the house at the very end of the film.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Looking back, I wish I hadn't have seen that, because I kind of knew that she was going to get out of the bunker and, like, back on to normal ground. So
yeah, that's the only... Yeah, I wish they hadn't have done something like that. It would have been great if it was just literally they showed the bunker in that sense. Because you would have literally... I think if I think my parents watched this without knowing what the trailer was, and they were like, "Oh my god," because they didn't know where it was going after that. They didn't know if she would get out or anything like that. So, I remember my mum watching it, and when Howard appeared with his face shaved, she literally went,
yeah.
"Oh no, 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 no," and she was like, "Oh, please don't tell me this movie ends bad."
See, like, that's probably one of the most, like, terrifying parts of the entire film for me. Like, that scene always creeps me out.
It does, because the worst thing is, it's straight after Emmett dies as well, so you're not quite processed that yet. And then when he does that, I'm like, oh god, this is just spiraling out of control.
Oh my gosh. I remember my parents, for the longest time, didn't want to watch it. Because, like, they were like, we don't do scary movies and stuff. And I'm like, well, it's not really scary. It's just more of a thriller that kind of keeps you on edge. And my dad watched it first, and he really loved it. And a couple, months go by, and my mom's like, I'll watch it with you. Watched it. She loves it, too. So, yeah.
That's good.
But they love it now, too. In fact, we were driving the other day. My dad, just out of the blue, said, you know what was a great movie? 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I just kind of nodded, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, it is.
It goes by so quickly as well at these points here. Because I remember watching this, and when it got to the seeing where they're at the table, it felt like it had only been going for like 10 minutes, and I look and it's like, oh my god, we're halfway through the movie. It's like, it goes by so quickly. I like this scene as well with the light, talking about the red lights. Unfortunately, it was kind of, I wonder if this was added in at all, like reshot to add in the red lights maybe, or I don't know, because obviously it's relating to Cloverfield Paradox. Or if they may have just added red lights for the particle accelerator, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, have you heard the podcast with JJ and Dan Trachtenberg that came out like right after this movie came out?
No.
Because they did it with Chris Hardwick from like the Talking Dead and stuff like that. And no joke, in the podcast, like JJ's like, yeah, if we had the chance to make a third film, then we could connect it in like a really cool way. And out of the blue, out of nowhere, Chris Hardwick just goes, oh, like a particle accelerator or something? Just so random. He says it, and you can tell there's like a moment of silence. And then they just kind of like laugh it off, and they're like, oh, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, it'd have been even funnier if he went, but that's too stupid. You guys would never do that, would you? And they're like, let's not take it into cinemas. Dump it on Netflix. And it's okay.
Oh, man. I think I like Paradox more than most people do.
Yeah, I could see why people don't do. I just can't. I just don't like the tone. Just seemed to be all over the place. I guess Cloverfield could sometimes do that, but it just didn't really click to me, because a lot of the decisions and stuff that was building up didn't make sense to me. Like the main character, which I keep forgetting her name, but Ava. She finds out that her kids are still alive on the parallel world, and she wants to stay there. Which, okay, but you've still got a husband on your previous one, and you're happy to abandon him. I know these are your kids and stuff, but you didn't. Even if they'd have established at the beginning of the movie that there was tension between the two after the kids died, that would have made more sense. Yeah, but and I actually found it quite interesting as well that someone watched the movie before the Cloverfield Easter eggs were added in, and they said themselves that the husband was dead as well. So to me, even that makes more sense. If everyone is dead in her family, and that's why she went up into the space shuttle, it would make far more sense why she would want to stay in that parallel world, even though there's another her in it, because she has nothing to go back to in the other world. Whereas this one, she's got a perfectly loving husband that supported her and encouraged her to go up there, And she's happy to just abandon him because she wants to see her kids again in a world where she's still there, and it would make it very complicated because she wouldn't be able to go back. So that's kind of why it's just the build up was just so messy, and it did not fit for me with the build up, because like I said earlier, even if there was tension between her and the husband, it would have been much more interesting.
Absolutely. I think that all of the stuff with Michael could have just been cut out and I hate
and put
it,
in a different
if it
movie.
were just contained. Here's my thing: make it more contained. It needs more of a focus. Like this film. This film's focused in this one area. It's not like jumping up and down and all around. It's in the bunker for the whole film.
Yeah, exactly. There's tension building up.
Right. My issue with Paradox is that, although I like the film, I do think that one of my biggest issues is a lack of focus. Because it's if the film were just Ava on the space shuttle and had tension with her husband and stuff, it would have been more interesting because it would have been more focused. And I feel like some of the stuff that they had, like Jensen appearing in the wall and the worms, and then Mundy's arm getting sucked into the thing, that would have been so much more interesting and scarier even if it wasn't jumping around so much. Because Michael's his main purpose in the film isn't to be a character, it's to be a catalyst for all of these Easter eggs, which is pointless when you think about it. And it's just kind of frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the things in there felt like they were unanswered intentionally. But the thing is, if they're unanswered and you leave clues in the movie on what actually happened to them, then fair play. But a lot of these things that didn't make sense were just it almost felt like, oh, well, this fan base is quite conspiracy-like. We'll just not explain it and they can make up whatever they want about it. That's kind of what it felt like in certain areas, because there was no clues on why these certain things happened. And then another thing, what else was I going to say in that sense?
I was going to say, I think it'd be cool, okay, I think that Clover, the monster, was just added in as a thing at the end. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It's cool seeing him again, but it wasn't earned. Like the aliens are earned in this film, and they fit in line with the narrative. Clover doesn't really do that, in Paradox anyway. So something else that I think would have been cool is how cool would it have been, and I think it would have added an even bigger layer of tension. What if you have this ship coming towards the space station in the void, or in the parallel universe or whatever, and it's they're trying to make contact with it, but it's sounding weird and it's not stopping, it's just coming right towards them. And in the end, it's revealed that it's people being held captive on one of the alien ships from 10 Cloverfield Lane. Yeah. So you've also got that connection too, and it would have added that sense of weirdness and stuff, and I feel like there's 1,000 more ways to make Paradox interesting.
Yeah, well, I think the worst part of what we got was the fact that it really didn't know what it wanted to be. And I think the reason is because the fan base of Cloverfield has split down the middle. It has kind of two sides. There's one side that wants the movies all to connect together and take place in the same world. And then there's the other side of the fan base that's just happy to have it as an anthology series with a couple of references.
Right.
And I think Paradox tried to please both of them by connecting it, but not connecting it at the same time.
Right.
And it kind of turned into a bit of a horrible mess, because when you try to please both of them, you end up pleasing nobody. And
thankfully, I feel like they have a lot of areas to go now with future films, because they have set something interesting up in a film that's just kind of okay. Mm-hmm. And I think that interesting concept is still there, and you can still do stuff with it. So I am excited to see where it goes.
The concept is there, but it would have been so much more interesting if they'd have built up to that more and established more rules about it, rather than, because they kind of just went, oh, this is how the movies are, there you go, and that kind of needed to be more explained, or at least in the build up to it. And I think the problem J.J. Abrams tends to have with mysteries in general is that he doesn't finish them before he releases them to the public. I think you have because I know where he comes from when he says something like, you can't write something beginning to finish for like a series like this, because you might want to change certain things in the areas. But I still feel you need to have answers for your biggest questions before going into it, and he doesn't normally. He usually uploads it. He usually publishes it. He thinks of mysteries and what they could mean, puts them together, and then he releases a first movie or something to the public with those mysteries unanswered. And then when he goes back to make a sequel or to attempt to fix it, he can't explain them properly without people being unsatisfied, because he's already might have written himself into a corner.
Yeah. I feel like one of the biggest problems with Paradox, though, is that it tried to be too directly connected, whereas this is like kind of its own thing first and foremost. Whereas I think Paradox is like,
Yeah, it tried to be its own thing while also trying to be a Cloverfield movie. Like I said before, it's trying to please everyone.
But it works as both, I think. This one
I wouldn't say... Oh, this one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
this
not
one,
Paradox.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say. No, I don't think it does. But yeah, this one definitely... This works as both because it's... The story is optional pretty much for, because you can just watch it as just a standalone movie, and that's what I like about it. That's what I kind of liked about the series franchise at first, but with Paradox, it's a lot more complicated, so to speak.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This scene is great.
Yeah, I like this.
I'll never forget seeing this on opening day.
I like how she was a news reporter in Cloverfield Paradox. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. I also like the Howard's brother Mark. Isn't that his name? Like Mark Stambler. Oh, whoa.
You know what would have been cool is if she or if they got an actress or an actor who was in the news reports in the first Cloverfield movie, and they arrived at that door instead of her. Because then you'd have been like, oh, well, that person was from one of the news reports in the previous Cloverfield movie. I thought that would have been pretty interesting if they'd have done something like that. Because they did it for the Paradox, so I'm like, oh, you could have done it previously. And then everyone would be like,
really cool idea, actually.
Yeah.
I do like how you can see Michelle's face in the reflection of the mirror.
Yeah.
In the window, it looks cool. The camera work here is so great. Bad Robot does something with their camera work that I've always enjoyed.
I do like the stuff that they make.
Like, Bad you know Robot how A24 makes movies? And even though they're different movies, they all kind of you can tell it's an A24 movie. Bad Robot's kind of the same thing, but more mainstream for me, I think. Because, they do stuff with, turns and, quick pans and stuff, and,
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, yeah. Oh.
They have the same kind of technicality behind them that I kind of appreciate.
Definitely. Oh.
That was a good cut.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just admire the fact that they shot this film entirely in secret. That's something that really stands out to me because
it's really
we're
good.
living in a world where we want to know everything. We all speculate about films like Star Wars and Harry Potter and whatever
a year before they even come out.
Yeah, and it's it's really cool just to release this small film that really piques your interest, comes out of nowhere, and you only have a little while to speculate about it because you didn't even know it was being made. And
this
that's
is why
something that really,
definitely,
that's kind of why I love this series, or one big reason why.
This is why I was really wanting Cloverfield Paradox to be just as good as this, if not close to as good as this, because then it sets the standard that what J.J. Abrams is doing is looking for scripts that wouldn't do well and turning them into Cloverfield movies so they would do well, because this is the problem that people never take into consideration with movies. Yes, there are a lot of sequels out there right now, but sequels make money. You put something new out, it's way too risky, especially in this era when cinema is kind of slowing down and not as many people are going. Box office stuff are rising and stuff, but that's because ticket prices are going up as well. And the thing is, Cloverfield was almost like that solution, or at least what I was thinking at the time when 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, because this is something that most likely wouldn't have been greenlit by other movies if it was just The Cellar, because it's too risky to come out on its own. But if you turn it into a Cloverfield movie, you kind of get ironically, the best of both worlds. You get a new movie that you haven't seen before, but it's technically a sequel at the same time, so the corporate people up there will happily greenlight it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of why I enjoyed the whole idea of an anthology series, but I was also thinking it'd be kind of cool if you could connect them to previous stuff as well.
That's why I really like your idea that you brought up in that one video about like the different like areas of Tagarado like being focused on like in each film, because you said something about like Slusho being the focus of Cloverfield, and then Bold Futura being the focus of this film, and then like what is it, Yoshida Medical Research being Paradox. Like that sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's why I was like
build up this big cinematic universe through these little films.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I think it was in the previous one, that if we're going down the paradox route, it would have been super cool if you could tell which universe was which by the subsidiary companies.
Yeah.
Because then you can go back to sequels. Like I said, like the Cloverfield universe with the monster attacking in 2008 is the Slusho one. So when you see the ARG for Slusho, oh, it's that world. So we're going to get a sequel to the first Cloverfield movie. If it's Bold Futura, oh, we're going to get a sequel to 10 Cloverfield Lane. Oh, if it's Yoshida's Medical Research, we're going to get a sequel to Paradox. And then, Parafun Wax and Taggarato.
Have we seen Parafun Wax like in the films? Like, do you see
no,
anything?
I don't think so.
I was gonna say that's the one that and Yoshida Medical Research, and I could be wrong about this, but like I don't remember seeing those in like any of the films.
I don't think so. That's why I would, for my version of it, I would have done obviously like the Parafun Wax for the World War one, because obviously we hadn't seen it in previous ARGs.
Yeah.
And then
not gonna lie. Oh, go ahead. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, go on. I'll finish off afterwards.
I was just gonna say that like that little thing that Howard just did with the cup. I watched this again a couple weeks ago, and I never caught on that that's how Michelle learned how to do it. To break out of the I guess
it's just little
bunker.
Subtle things in it. It
is, and you catch something new every time that you watch this film, and it's something that I really love about it.
I like films like that, definitely, where there's just so many things happening that you don't even realize it.
The attention to detail is just like striking. It's absolutely crazy how much passion was put into this.
I definitely love it, and yeah, I'll have to get in touch with J.J. Abrams, and I'll rewrite the next few movies and build up a cinematic universe.
You're just gonna call Bad Robot. Hey, is J.J. Abrams there?
Hey, is J.J. Abrams there? Can I? I want to make a movie. Did you see my video on it? I want to do that.
Oh man.
I think that would have been cool. I mean, people were like, "Oh, I don't quite like the alien war thing." It's like, well, I'm not going to bring up the alien war thing because humans wouldn't know about the alien war thing. It was just from the perspective. I needed some kind of groundwork to build off of and just hint at it rather than explain it. And the whole fifth movie was just basically going from the perspective of us trying to put the pieces together. And we only get so much of what happened in this timeline.
Yeah.
I think it would have been pretty cool. And we got Ganu Yoshida appearing in it. So yeah, it'd been awesome.
He's kind of the puppet man. That would have been so cool. I would have loved that. But I can see how it's kind of a risk. But I don't know. I think it would have paid off.
I think it definitely would have, because it would have had the Cloverfield name and people would have been coming towards it and they'd have liked it. I'd have put a couple more references in there, but make them a little bit more tied into the story probably, or something like that. Like little things with like maybe, like I said, I'd just get an actual actor for Ganu Yoshida, and I would have probably put him in all the movies, so he'd have been the direct actor that's been in every single one of them. Yeah. You know, kind of like, oh, I guess I've just realized he's kind of like Nick Fury, now that I think about it. He'd be the one that appears in all the movies, but no. He appears somewhere. Yeah, he appears at the end. We're putting together a team. No. But no, I'd see it. He'd be just like in corner. I guess actually no. I guess he'd be like a. In the first 4 movies, he'd be like a Stan Lee cameo. You know, where he appears in that corner. You know, it's like, oh, it's Ganu Yoshida. You know, and he's there. And then
just a thought. I think that they should have built up to having Ganu Yoshida somehow bring Howard back to life, and then make him really big to defeat the Cloverfield monsters. So
sounds
that way,
great.
We can just have a giant fight between John Goodman, a big John Goodman,
a big John Goodman and the Cloverfield monster. Yes,
I mean, I'd pay some solid money to see that.
I think that'd have been amazing. That's the technology that they've been working on so good.
I mean, hey, monsters come in many forms. So.
That'd have been brilliant.
Oh man, it looks like it's about to pour down rain where I'm at, and that's not going to be fun for the rest of the day. I'm supposed to go see that crappy Dwayne Johnson. I'm assuming it's bad. The Skyscraper movie with Dwayne Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Like my friend's like, hey, we should go see some bad movies when you get back into town, and I'm like, okay. So last night we saw Unfriended Dark Web, which is about as bad as you would expect it to be.
Really?
And it's like, I felt personally attacked too, because like there's a scene in the film to where it's like the guy, the protagonist is like, I made it all up. Because like weird stuff's happening, and he's like, I made it all up. And they're all like, what? He goes, yeah, it's just a part of an alternate reality game that I'm putting together for you guys. And as soon as he said it, I was like, wait. One, this movie doesn't understand how ARGs work. And 2, It's just, this is so bad.
Oh, wow. Did he actually say alternate reality game in the movie? He did
say alternate reality game, yeah. Because as soon as he said it, my friend turned and looked at me, because he knows that I'm really into them. And,
God.
alright.
That's a painful movie. I mean, the guy who makes that produces those stuff, it's like, he can have some good ones, but oh my god, do you have to get through so much shit just to actually get to them? It's like,
well, I admire his business model. Like,
I think it's brilliant.
I think Jason Blum's a genius, because like
business-wise, he's fantastic.
Films.
Yeah, but it just.
I think Jason Blum just desperately wants a Cloverfield, and he has yet to get it.
Secretly does, doesn't he? Oh, he has very little understanding of the internet, though. It's like watching Unfriended, definitely.
Yeah, he's trying to make Unfriended this thing, from what it feels like, and it just didn't work. But I do admire the technicality behind making a film like that, like the narrative being like on a laptop.
Did you say with Unfriended? What were you saying?
Oh, I just said that like I do admire the technicality behind it, and how like, you know, the whole narrative's taking place through a Skype call. That's pretty cool.
It's all right.
Credit given where credit's due. I did like how there wasn't like a ghost in this one. It was like hackers and stuff. Like, that's cool. Because like I'm tired of seeing like ghosts being like the generic villains of like these kinds of movies.
But I think even then the whole thing with Dark Web, it's like you don't even know it's.
I agree with you 100%. Don't get me wrong.
This is Darknet. It's like
this is Dark Web. It's like
this is boy. Dark Web. Wow. Do you even know what it is? It's
like... dude, a kid gets swatted in this film, and it's hilarious. Because the cops show up like immediately after the phone call ends.
I think the first one wasn't exactly that great, to be honest. I think I didn't
like it either.
That the main girl was just an absolute idiot when it came to. I was like, what was it? She didn't know what a troll was. It's like, what's a troll? It's like, really? How old are you? It's like,
yeah. This scene's great.
Yeah, I do love this.
48.3.
I loved this music when it was played in the trailer. It was how it just slowly cut down. I was like, that is perfect.
I actually have a playlist that I made just out of pure curiosity and like looking into the films, because like I love like old school music, so this like really stuck with me. And I have a whole playlist of like J.J. Abrams related music on my phone, and it's pretty fun to listen to. Like, it's all from Lost and Cloverfield and Super 8, so it's pretty cool.
In Lost, I actually found my favorite song ever, I think.
Oh, really?
What's it called? Make Your Own Kind of Music.
Yeah, by Mama Cass.
That's by far my favorite song ever that I found. I thought that was brilliant. So I liked it in Lost, and then I loved I ended up listening to that song every so often. Someone made a remake of it. It was quite funny because a year ago I searched for it and it disappeared off all the areas. Like it wasn't anywhere to be found. I was like, that's strange. Why is it gone? And then obviously this remake came up. I was like, oh, that's why they removed all the stuff because it was
I was wondering about that too.
So it was very good. I enjoyed it.
I was going to say something and then I completely forgot what I was going to say. I think it's music related, but we'll just have to wait and see if it comes back to me.
Catfish. Do you think that's a reference to something?
I think that's the monster for the next movie.
Ah, okay. I was just going to say catfish, maybe not all that people seem or something on the outside, how they... Because it could have been a reference to something.
Maybe. I don't know.
I didn't quite probably
think. The tape that they were watching was Cannibal Airlines. And this has probably nothing to do with this at all. So just keep that in mind. But Overlord is about an airplane guy, a parachute fella, a little parachute guy. Mm-hmm. And he flies in planes and Cannibal Airlines. I don't know. I feel like I'm reaching by this point, but... I don't know, it just reminded me of the trailer.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a connection there.
Yeah, I don't think there is either. But such a cool trailer, though.
I do like the backgrounds and stuff, like the Paris shot, because that's obviously related to Megan, isn't it?
You know they sell that shirt on Amazon for like women to buy, and I'm like, who would wear that? Because if you've seen the film, that shirt has kind of a terrifying backstory to it. So
that's why they wear it.
It's a cool shirt, but I'm like, I don't get why anybody would buy that.
Maybe they got issues.
Because I was looking for Cloverfield shirts of my own. Don't worry, I don't look for women's clothing in my spare time. So,
I was talking as well about the Paris, the Eiffel Tower in the background as well on the painting behind Michelle.
Oh yeah. Well, that was in the ARG too, wasn't it? On the Fun and Pretty Things website?
That's what I mean, yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah. That's why I like it there. I like these little nods in there. This is good, because at this point you're like kind of thinking, oh, Howard's not that bad. You're like, oh.
I remember, like, in theaters, you're absolutely right. This kept me guessing the entire time, because, like, there were certain points where I was like, maybe he's not that bad of a guy after all. Maybe he's just like some swell fellow living in a bunker. I mean,
yeah, it was just like, it's just like, it probably is at the end of the world because everyone seems to be happy for it. And then this scene happens with the earring, and I'm like, oh no!
Oh my gosh! I remember the first time I saw this. I thought that like one of those parasite things from Cloverfield was gonna be crawling around in that vent.
Really?
I remember thinking like it was gonna be something like that, just a jump scare coming out of nowhere. But nope, it's just Michelle turning on the thing, and something almost equally creepy happens. But it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, we're good. We're fine. Got it.
Yeah, we're fine. There's no jump scare.
That's something else that I thought was going to be in this film, and then just like there's virtually no jump scares in this entire film.
There is no.
Other than the Leslie woman banging her head on the
Yeah. I was
that's about like the only one.
That's the closest to a jump scare, isn't it?
Oh, that's another thing about Paradox. Paradox has so many jump scares.
Oh, that's probably why I don't like it.
They just kind of feel they're unexpected, to be fair, but like they've also
they're unrealistic as well. They're literally monster roars. It's like
you have to earn a good jump scare.
You do, and they didn't. Another thing as well is like the 18-minute mark where the particle accelerator explodes. And
it's like related to Cloverfield.
Yeah,
like, it's exactly when that thing happens.
The thing is, people say, well, it almost happens at the same time, and I'm just thinking it feels like a coincidence because it doesn't happen in the second movie. Nothing like that at 18 minutes. So because I personally think someone noticed it, put it together, and then Bad Robot just rolled with it. Because if that really was the case, wouldn't they have done it with wouldn't they have made 10 Cloverfield Lane the same as well? Because they're all particle accelerate to kind of start. You know, they're all affected by it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that didn't J.J. Abrams say like it was like purely coincidental and it had nothing to do with like the
Did he? I don't.
thing?
I have no idea because it just.
I feel like he did, but like frankly, I feel like I don't know. It fits together so well that I just think it's like a perfect coincidence.
I think it was just a coincidence because it was only one movie and there's three of them. There were two movies and there's three of them. So if it was supposed to happen, then they would have done it. I mean, if they'd have included it, that would have been cool if they'd have done something like that for this movie as well. And so every movie at the 20-minute mark, something happens, like a shake or something, because it's the particle accelerator. That would have been cool. But because it doesn't happen in this movie, to me it was purely coincidental. But then Netflix or the Paradox account started retweeting these people who say it, and I'm like, okay, so they sound like they're just rolling with it. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. Look, this help part.
Yeah. These shots are so good. Like, I never knew that you could get shots from, like, I don't know. It's just great. I love it. And then the earring, and you see, like...
the blood.
They do a really good job, like we were just talking about, of, like, making you believe that Howard's an okay guy by this point. And then when you see this, you're just kind of like, oh, man, that's not good.
Yeah, this is the tension that I love the build-up of. I wish they'd have done something like this in It, because It was a bit loud, I think, when it came to jump scares and stuff. I like that movie, but I just wish they'd have done something like this where the tension was building up. Rather than, because there were always loud noises going on, so you could I almost adapted to it, you know, the jump scares, because there was just literally loud noises every 5 seconds. So I was never scared anymore after that, because I'd almost adapted.
Well, see, the thing that I don't like about jump scares is when a jump scare is done right and it's earned, it actually works. But the thing is whenever you have that loud jolting noise that accompanies it, it makes it somehow worse, even though studios think it's better.
It can be earned, but the thing is, there's so many put into things. Like, for example, like the whole movie of It was literally just loud noises. I mean, if they'd have cut them out, I think it would have been... I think it was close to being I know this is a bit ridiculous, but saying close to a masterpiece in horror, because there were so many visuals that would have been great, and the loud noises really pushed it back. I still enjoyed it, but yeah, there was just the things that could have been in that movie, and I think that's a lot of things, because literally there's like jump scares every 5 minutes in movies. And it's
I also think that, like, for films like this, there's, like, an art to subtlety, and horror is kind of built on that concept. Yeah. So when you do jump scares all the time, it kind of ruins the concept and, in return, hurts your film. Because I know somebody said this before. When you see the thing that you're supposed to be afraid of the first time, it's, like, when you see it right away, it's scary. But then when you see it again, it's not as scary because you know what to expect.
Exactly.
And that's why I love films like this and Alien and stuff like that, because they work.
It builds up the tension and it builds up the claustrophobia of being in a place where you can't get out. And even stuff like I didn't mind the Paranormal Activity stuff because of the build up and stuff to it. Same with Blair Witch.
Wait, which Blair Witch? The 2016 one or
the old one?
Ah, okay, yeah. I was about to say, I love the old one. I'm not a big fan of the new one.
The new one, I don't mind. I think it's a bit stupid, but it still, from what I did with research, it still ties into the lore that they created in 1999, so I'm okay with it, but it's not that good of a movie.
See, I don't like it because it shows the Blair Witch. Like, the brilliance of that film was, speaking of brilliance, anywho, the brilliance of that film was, like, it didn't show the Blair Witch. So is there a Blair Witch, or is it just Mike and Josh messing with Heather in the woods? We don't really know. So, I mean, I don't know. I
mainly like
the film just kind of throws that away.
I guess that's not the reason why I would personally think, because there is a Blair Witch in that first movie, because the website and documentary heavily imply it.
Right.
So there kind of is one, but the part that I liked about that first movie is the fact that you just don't see it. And the thing is that humans are scared of the most are the things that you either can't explain or can't see. The less knowledge we know about something, the more terrifying it is. We don't know what's going on in Howard's head. That's terrifying because we don't know. So we don't know how to confront it. We don't know how to fight it. And the less you know about it, the more terrifying it is. And that's why the Blair Witch in 2016 didn't work for me. Because, yeah, like you said, they showed it. And it's kind of... they showed a little too much of it. And once you see it, you're like, okay, that's not bad now because I've seen it. But... it's like why creepypastas, like those short sentences, work really well. You know, like the I heard my mother call me down from the kitchen. I was sent on my way, and then the cupboard door opened up, and a hand pulled me inside. It was my mother, and she said, "I heard it too," and it just ends there. It's like, well, what was in the kitchen that was And the reason why that is scary is because something was in the kitchen mimicking my mother's voice. So what was in that kitchen, and why has it terrified my mum so much that she's hiding in the cupboard? But we never know what happens after that. So you never know what was in that kitchen, what was mimicking your parents' voice that almost, and and the thought that you almost went in there too. And someone made a short film of it, but then they showed the creature, and it went away. Because they showed the creature of what it was. So it's like you lose it. Where you I know a lot of people complain. It's like, oh, we didn't get to see the monster and stuff like that. But it'll hold up so much more if you don't show less of the monster.
I feel like that's the problem with modern audiences today. We just want to be shown everything, and it's like we don't need to be shown everything or have all of the questions answered. And it's like people act like that's a flaw. And I don't think that that's a flaw in certain films doing that concept. And it's just kind of like... it's a bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's...
oh, man.
But when it does well, it does well. And it obviously ends up... a lot of it can end up standing the test of time with stuff like that. And I know, obviously, people... that's where I kind of give Paranormal Activity credit. Because you never see the creature. It's always it's always your own imagination of what it looks like. Even, well, I don't know about the latest sequels, but even up to at least 4 or something like... no, I think up to 3, because I think they start showing it in 4. But all the way up to 3, it's always your imagination of what he looks like. Always little vague descriptions of what the demon Toby looks like.
Right.
And that's why it did so well. And then, obviously, towards the end, it literally just fell apart because, literally, they just started showing stuff and too much. So, yeah. And that's why future Blair Witch stuff didn't do as well, because they, like Book of Shadows and stuff, they literally showed stuff.
Well, Book of Shadows is, like, a pretty interesting disaster. Because, like, apparently there's, like, a cut of that film that the director wants to put out, but it's like he can't. For some reason.
Really?
There's like an entirely different cut of Book of Shadows that was released, and the director's like, it's a good film, but like the cut that we have is not very good.
I mean, probably, but it was uploaded a year after the first movie, so I can't think much time will have gone into it, even if there is a different cut to it.
The problem is that Blair Witch, for me anyway, is like lightning in a bottle, and it's like you hit it and it works. But you're only going to get it once. So they couldn't just, like, recapture the magic. And I think that, like, that's a film that I would consider to be too ambitious at least, for its own good.
Which movie is that?
Book of Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh, speaking of great scenes, this scene is one that I love so much. And it's probably one of my favorite moments in the entire film.
I love the look on his face. He's just like... yeah.
I just love him.
He's like really into it. Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, oh no, he's gone. But yeah. This scene.
Gosh, this is...
it's scary, the fact that it shows you that he doesn't see her anymore. Only that just a girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He just sees her as a little child.
Ugh.
Yeah, woman.
It's like Howard is the perfect antagonist when you really think about it.
It sets up the perfect exactly what's going through his mind and how he sees Michelle. He just sees Megan. I do love that, and I love the fact that there's just that little tension there that he's not happy that he didn't win that.
Yeah. I just like it because it's like the film does a good job of like, or better yet, the ARG does a great job of accompanying the film. In that, like, if you want more backstory, it's there. But if you didn't play the ARG, it's perfectly explained in the film that Howard had a daughter and, like, she was taken away. And that's what ARG should do.
Exactly. So. That's why I haven't gotten into a lot of recent ARGs or web series. Because a lot of people focus way too much on the mystery and not the story itself. They have, like, little web series. And I don't know if you've heard of that Petscop.
Yeah, I have.
YouTube, yeah. I can't personally get into that because there is no story on the surface for me other than the first episode. It's literally random stuff. I'm kind of blown away by this scene, so I'm getting distracted. Yeah. But yeah, terrifying. Oof. Santa Claus. Love that.
Can we just talk about how perfect she is in this film? Because like Mary Elizabeth Winstead gives an amazing performance too.
I love it. You really do. You're terrified for her. It's just like.
I think
because the thing is, she still has an injured. She still has an injured leg, doesn't she, or something like that? So she can't even. So she literally just can't. She'll struggle to go to places, but yeah, I love that. But yeah.
A movie channel that I follow said that this is like one of the best superhero origin stories of recent years, and to be honest with you, I think that he's absolutely right. When you really think about it, like, this film kind of is a superhero origin story. Because, like, she leaves and then, well, she's trapped and then she grows as a person and develops and changes, and then by the end of the film, she kind of throws away her past to look, ahead to the future and save others. So.
Yeah, well, it's like at the start, she was always caring about herself, and she always runs away from her problems, but then at the very end, she literally comes at a crossroads and decides to face the problems head on. And I like that. It's like a little bit of a character arc at the end.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it was early with the Petscop stuff, the mystery of a lot of people miss is that they don't tell an actual story. Petscop was just uploading random videos. And if you watch that all on its own... Oh, it's this moment. I'll quickly get it. But if you watch all that moment on its own, without watching fan theories or explain videos, you have no idea what's going on. Whereas Cloverfield, you can watch the movies without needing to know the extra ARG stuff. But Petscop, it's like you have to in order to know what's going on in the videos. And that, I think, is the wrong way to handle it. Yeah. It needs to be... more of a you need to have the story on the surface, and extra parts of the lore needs to be optional, because then it's like everything that I've even talked about, it's all optional, and you can watch this stuff on your, and that's why I like the Cloverfield stuff a lot. I was just thinking, oh, this is Breaking Bad. I was like, and then when he actually pulled it out, and I was like, oh my god, it is Breaking Bad. What's gonna happen? I was like,
duh. I hate this. This kind of messes with me a little bit.
I think the worst part is when you see him dissolving. It's like, that's the worst part.
As soon as I saw it, I'm like, this isn't just something that you would show for, like, one scene. This is a plot device that they're going to use to, like, do something with later. And sure enough, they do, but, like, oh, man, I don't know.
It is just...
by this point, they've basically like told you Howard's a pretty bad person. So,
but you all know from the very beginning, because they've been building up the fact that he hates Emmett, and Emmett blatantly gives him a reason
to kill him.
Yeah. Whereas if Michelle had done it, I don't think she would have been shot.
Yeah, I don't even think she would have been hurt. She may have just maybe physically abused a bit, but like other than
maybe, yeah, because while Emmett's still alive, I don't think he'd kill her.
Granted, I think that Howard didn't want Emmett in there anyway, so it's like...
He didn't, because that's why he's broken his arm. That's the whole purpose of his arm being broken. Because he ran back, and he was forcing his way inside, and Howard didn't want him in. So he's wanted him gone, and that's why he always stares at him like that. And then at this moment, Howard's thinking in his head, you've just given me the reason to finally get rid of you.
Yeah.
And that's what... Because the entire time he's there, he's hated Emmett every time he said it. The whole build up to this movie you watch, he's just absolutely despised him and doesn't want him there.
Even from the moment that we meet him, because remember, like, at the very beginning when he knocks over that shelf, and it's like Howard just goes out and yells at him. Like, it's a perfect... I love the fact that they're foils to one another.
This part, it's like you can't process it, and then literally the next scene, because now he's happy
dead
that...
silent, too.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
This is not... Oh, man. I don't like this.
It is so bad because you're just like, oh, they're all alone now.
Because he goes from being a monster to like trying to be friendly and like a father figure, but it's still not okay. Don't. And then he shaves right after this, like you said earlier on.
Well, that's what I mean, because he knows that Emmett's not there now, so he's happy. It's like the beard almost represents his frustration with Emmett. There you go. There's the analysis. Because then once he's finally got rid of the problem, he shaves as well. So I guess that almost is kind of a little look at his problem's gone. Because you usually get beards and stuff when you a lot of people like little stubble when you're stressed or haven't slept because you're stressing out over stuff. But then when it's finally over for you end up giving it a nice clean shave. So
right.
There you go.
Or if you're like me, you just can't grow a beard in the first place. So.
Oh dear.
Oh man, I've tried several times. It's not successful.
Did you see the script where Emmett was actually the bad guy? Is that the original script?
I think so. I do know that there's he's a big guy. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
because people say that in this movie, he was the bad guy all along, and it's like no. The original script, he was the bad guy, but they rewrote it so Emmett was the good guy. Oh, that's creepy. But yeah, they rewrote.
I've read the script for The Cellar, but I'm trying to remember back to it because it was like a couple years back whenever I read it. Isn't it like they go inside of the house or something, and like Michelle sees photos of like Howard and his family and whatnot, and like there's something with that at the very end that isn't in the actual film. Yeah,
I think it is where you realize that it is his daughter or something, don't you? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I think a lot of the scenes were changed in that because I think it was heavily implying, because it's almost a double twist. I do actually quite like that, the fact that Emmett was the bad guy all along. But for this specific movie, the way it was presented, it wouldn't really make sense why Emmett was.
Oh, I would have hated it if Emmett was like the. Yeah, well, I don't know if I would have hated it. Well, it would have felt too off.
Well, for this specific one with it connecting to Cloverfield and all this stuff, but in the other scripts, I can see it working because he was written to be that, and there was build up to it. Whereas this probably isn't. They've cut out all the scenes where it hinted to him being the bad guy.
Right.
So and they obviously don't do a reveal at the end where Howard was the. That would have been devastating, though. If Howard was the good guy all along and he'd saved Michelle, and then Michelle.
Oh, that would have been weird.
And then it'd been even worse if the world had actually been an apocalyptic world as well. So he was like, oh no, even worse. It's aliens. I've just killed the only guy that was protecting me. Oh dear.
Oh my gosh, he looks almost scarier now than he did before.
Yeah, well that's because he's got he's like dressed up in a suit and stuff, isn't he? He's like properly. Before it was all sluggish.
Every time I see this, he looks like a 50s father, like from like the.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks like he'd fit just perfectly into like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
He would actually, yeah, dressed like this, definitely.
Oh my gosh, this gets my anxiety going right here. I can't deal with this.
It is.
Scene.
I was like, no, no, no.
And then he turns around and sees the thing sticking out underneath the mattress.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, and he grabs her by the hair too. I think.
Oh. I like that part. Oh shit!
I just like to think,
and then they just block him. it's like that's the funniest part of the scene. I was like, even though I was like, anxiety levels going to 5,000. I couldn't stop laughing at that part.
Oh my gosh! Oh, there it is. Hey, look, it's all of us after watching the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Oh, I've always loved this.
Mm.
This is... it's so cool.
Oh, that has to be painful. He literally put his hands right in it. Oh.
I do like how his like scream becomes like a roar, like a real
I know,
monster.
it turns
it's
into a
so
slur.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, man.
Monsters come in different forms.
Oh, boy.
Come on, you can do it.
The worst is whenever she crawls through the vents again and the knife, like, pops up.
That part, though, where he's got literally half of his face missing.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's never 100% creeped me out, but, like, it does look a bit scary.
I think that was more of the low budget. I think if they had a bit of bigger budget, they'd have probably made half of his face gone, wouldn't they?
Well, like, I'm thinking of, like, the dude from Overlord, like, the trailer. Like,
I'm thinking of Two-Face.
Oh, yeah? Good old Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor guy hasn't got much work since then, but...
No. Oh, he did well. Yeah, I think because in Dark Knight, because the Joker was just so good, people overlooked Two-Face in that. I think he did brilliant in that.
Oh, he's a great villain in that film. The ending of The Dark Knight, where Two-Face goes to kill Harvey's family, is like... Or Two-Face goes to kill Gordon's family, is still like one of the most emotional things in any superhero film I've seen.
Definitely. Oh, I forgot about the knife thing. That was terrifying. I thought... Because the thing is, I thought he was going to pull it up again, you know, where stomach was or something, and I was like, oh, no.
It would have been interesting if he had actually got her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would have been like, oh, my word.
I'm really surprised that there isn't a Clover Memes subreddit. I mean, we've got the material.
Yeah, true. Oh.
Ugh. That's disgusting.
Oh.
He just wants a hug.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, it was just a hug he was looking for.
He doesn't get one the entire film.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what made him so mean. I mean, I'd be pretty mean if I didn't get hugs.
I'd be pretty cranky too if I didn't get a hug every so often. I was like, for some reason, I thought his hand was attached to that strap. I thought that's what she was pulling up. I was like, oh, that's not nice. I was like, oh no, it's her clothes. Yeah. Oh. I think that in that short film, don't they have a little mask similar to this? I know this is like made out of bottles and stuff, but I was like, is that like a little reference to this particular part? Because doesn't she damage her mask?
I like the whole color palette, like in that shot right there, like with the smoke and the orange. It looks really cool.
It's definitely nice. Yeah, I like this particular outfit.
And now we're coming into the most, I guess, like, divisive part of the film. I don't mind it. I like the aliens in the film. I feel like if they weren't there, it'd be a bit anticlimactic. But that's, I don't know. I have a friend who doesn't like the aliens in this film. He's like, he just wishes it would have ended here.
Well, it caused a stir between people. They don't like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Is it really the last 10 minutes? It's, wow, 19 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, last 20 minutes or so of the movie, they didn't like it. I could kind of understand why, because it turns into like a monster movie all of a sudden. Whereas it could have been... What she could have done is she could have done all this part, and then she stood on the car, and then she sees the aliens in the distance, and then it cuts to her getting in a car and driving away. And then it goes to the crossroads part. Rather than the whole aliens fighting her, sorry. I think it could have literally cut to her just getting in the car and driving away and getting to that crossroads where, hey, we're winning this battle, come and help us, and then she does that little part. Because I don't think they needed to have the aliens fighting part. But
to be honest though, I actually kind of love the aliens. I think that like they're the perfect representation of Howard, because like he was right for all of the stuff that he had going on mentally, and like.
He was
the
right.
insane person that he was. He was right in that regard, because he did know stuff was going on.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I really like it.
I know what you mean, but I don't think they needed to have her fight the aliens. Is what I'm saying. They could literally like she does this part, I think, but then she stands on the car and you see the aliens in the distance. I think that's all you'd need. It's like, oh, he was right all along, even though he's crazy. He was right.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to her getting in the car and driving away. You just cut out the monster coming over to her and fighting her. That's all. Yeah. That's all you could really cut out, to be honest. But I think they kept it in for some reason, because I think they wanted to appeal to the mainstream for a lot of it.
Yeah. But I do think it does work regardless, because like I do like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The fact you see the birds,
that, like,
because then that's like.
Yeah.
The air must be breathable if the birds are flying around.
I do like the fact though that like it does kind of have like the bottle at the very beginning of like alcohol does kind of have a payoff. I mean, it doesn't need to, but like I don't know, I just kind of like it.
Well,
because like we all know the real reason why Michelle grabbed that bottle when she was driving away, to kind of forget about like the fact that stuff was going on with her fiance and stuff, and life just wasn't at where she wants it to be, and she uses it at the end to ultimately help her, and
Oh, is that the glass?
Yeah, the champagne bottle.
Yeah, I see. I don't really think it was that needed, because like I said, I think the alien fighting part didn't really need to be there, but I still like. I mean, it is only like the last 10 minutes. This is an hour and a half already of brilliantness. So, so like this part here, when she turns around and then you see like the flying saucer. It's like, where is it? Yeah, there. It's like, oh no, it's real. What? This has happened, and then that should have been it. Wait,
and then it kind of like turns.
But that's why I don't think it needs to be that turning point. I think she could literally just getting the car at that point.
Yeah.
And then like drive away. That part's cool.
How the camera spins, yeah. That's a real explosion too.
I know, yeah. That's pretty good.
Let's see.
Alien spaceship.
There it is.
Alien spaceship. Yeah, I like how it deploys like the dog. I like how it throws it to the other tentacle and catches it. It's like, what if you missed it? It's like
it just falls down like
yeah, and dies. It's like, oh damn it! I should have just dropped it.
That was easy.
Yeah, I'll drive away now. Oh dear. Wouldn't it have been cool if actually they do that scene, where they go into like the house and she goes around Howard's things, because she's looking for the keys, so she sees a couple of pictures of what Megan actually looked like, and
yeah, it makes me wonder if they have any deleted scenes that weren't released. Because knowing Dan Trachtenberg, he might have a few. I might tweet him about that.
Yeah, does he have actual footage of it? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Because at least I think that should have been done before she realized there were aliens invading the world. Because then she can, wander around for a bit.
Let's see, just out of curiosity.
Who's that? is that the?
That's the woman from earlier.
Oh yeah.
I was convinced there was going to be a jump scare here the first time I saw this.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Cause it. I love how it's dark now.
Yeah. And like 5 minutes ago, it was like really bright.
Yeah, it was
outside.
like really bright. It's
Like that scene from The Dark Knight Rises. You know how like you've seen that, right? Like the okay, how like when Bane robs the bank, how like it starts out in like the middle of the day, and then when Batman shows up, it's like pitch black at night.
It's like, oh, okay, whoops.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
I do like the design for him.
It does look kind of cool. I wish it were a parasite.
Yeah. If it were a parasite, that would have been so much. I don't know. I might have liked that more.
You might have like that would have been. Everyone would have been going, "Oh snap! It's a parasite. That's from the first movie."
I know that because I know Cloverfield. Just like stands up and claps.
I stand up and applauded when I saw that.
I clapped when I saw it.
Yeah, I clapped when I saw it.
Oh man, let's see.
How lovely.
Why don't we have a meme page? I swear there are so many memes in this movie.
So many memes that could be created.
I'm gonna start a subreddit.
Or GIFs. Yeah.
I'm gonna call it Hugs for Howard.
Hugs for Howard, yes you should. And then the should have like a sideline, you know, it's like all he needs is a hug. Monsters need hugs too.
See, this was the thing in the Super Bowl trailer, except they cut out the alien behind her.
Yeah.
So it was like literally in the house, like when the windows light up because of the thing. Yeah, it's this. This was the final shot in the trailer. And I mean, it still makes you wonder, but like I
mean, yeah, it makes you wonder what it is, but it's like since the whole movie is in the bunker saying, does she get out, does she not? It's kind of, It's the only problem with trailers. It's like, you kind of want to see a trailer to see if it can get you interested, but then they might end up spoiling it. It's like...
Yeah. I'd say Bad Robot and Lucasfilm are really good with their trailers. They're the two that I think are, and A24 in some respects.
I'm gonna
really good with their trailers.
Definitely.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Oh wow. That's interesting.
And it just rips it off.
I'm gonna have to find a really popular movie that's hyped up and not watch the trailer or any marketing towards it, and then just go into the movie blind.
You could do that for Star Wars.
Could do, but I don't think I'm that interested in seeing the next one, to be honest.
Oh really?
Yeah, I didn't mind The Last Jedi, but I don't think I was just that interested in it.
Ooh,
I think
just started a war. I'm just kidding. No, it's okay.
I know. Well, actually, no. I got a bunch of people going, "Oh, how dare you say you kind of like it? It's the worst. It's the epitome of everything." Someone ranked it lower than the Star Wars Christmas special, and I was like, "What? Are you really?"
I loved The Last Jedi so much. Right up my alley.
I think when I watched it, I kind of realized that I wasn't really bothered about the characters all that much. I was just mainly, it was mainly just the original cast that I'd tuned in for, because I love Mark Hamill in general. I love his acting and stuff. So to see it, so I think that's kind of the main parts that I enjoyed about it. And actual world of Star Wars, I wasn't too interested in. So yeah, I guess after that movie, I kind of realized it was just one of those. So I just left it for other people to go and watch. So well, that's a beautiful. That was.
That's a cool shot. I've always liked the shot of like the thing lifting up the truck.
Yeah. Definitely.
This whole ending scene is great.
I like seeing that. I forgot that happened when I watched it for the first time round, when it just fell. Beautiful.
It's such a pretty... Oh, that frame is so good. This movie is gorgeous. I love the cinematography in this film.
I love the ones in the bunker. I love it. It's a very nice blue filter almost.
Yeah, the colors do a really great job of conveying the mood too.
This is the part where I'd say it should cut to. After she discovers the alien in the sky, she then cuts to the car where she drives away.
Yeah.
And then it does this part, the whole, oh, we got the radio.
Oh, I do like the mailbox, the 10 Cloverfield Lane. There's actually a real 10 Cloverfield Lane, like, an hour away from me. And
Really?
I need to go visit it, just for the sake of saying that I can go there as a joke.
What is it again, the address? As an actual 10 Cloverfield?
Yeah.
Really?
Sure is. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
You have to
South
take
Carolina.
a picture of it. Definitely.
I would do it, but I think somebody lives at that house. So it'd be kind of weird to take a photo in front of somebody's house.
Nah, it's for a movie. You can be just
knocks
like,
on
you
the
don't
door,
know
"Hey,
what
is Howard
Cloverfield is? Yeah. Is J.J. Abrams there?
Is J.J. Abrams here?
Ooh. A literal crossroads.
It's metaphorical.
It's metaphorical, guys. We're winning.
See, the medical training could be interesting, because I think in future films you could really use Yoshida medical research for that. Oh, I also love this. I saw an edit to where instead of the alien ship flying, it's Clover walking.
A giant giant Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Oh, there's two ships. I didn't realize that.
Huh. And then the great music. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Jensenberg.
Oof. Well, hey, that was a movie that we both like, that we've probably seen like 40 bajillion times, but hey.
Yeah.
Still just as good.
Still good as always.
Yep. Really cool how Damien Chazelle wrote like one of the earlier drafts for this too, because like he's kind of a bigger name now too. So,
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that was another thing about Cloverfield, wasn't it? It was like a good way to let new people direct stuff and a good way to get into the film industry. Or at least,
see, that's also kind of why I admire it too, because it's like I don't know, it's just really cool seeing like, in a way, these really are kind of indie films that just have a higher budget because J.J. Abrams saw potential. And
they just have a little bit of a higher budget, or they've got that new name attached to it, established franchise attached to it, so it gets people to come in and join. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
See, and that's why I would have actually really enjoyed it if they'd have made Paradox good, but inevitably it was because now, because the way it was handled and stuff, it kind of gives the impression that they're literally just getting scripts together and turning them into Cloverfield movies with not much thought put into them, other than, hey, we can just turn it into a Cloverfield movie. And I thought before, because with this movie, I thought, they must have been looking at this and thinking, hey, this could be a really good movie and it deserves more attention. But then after, like, the other one, I was just like, it's probably not. Driver. Oh, there's a driver in this.
Douglas.
Voice on radio.
Then Bradley Cooper.
A woman, Susan Cryer. Stunt
Oh yeah,
coordinator.
that was
the woman at the door. Yeah.
Yep. Same one in Paradox too, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Definitely. Stretch.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired. I love this film to death, but oh man.
I think we did pretty well.
I think we did too. Oh man. Well, I do think that this one's better than, dare I say it again, I do think it's better than Cloverfield.
Yeah.
But I still love both films so much.
I like films, but I definitely like this one so much more, just because it's definitely more, the characters I think are handled better, whereas I think in the first movie, Rob, you don't really know much about him to really care as much as the characters in this. There's only, I think the only one that's kind of a cool character that you'd like to see again is, I've even forgotten his name, Hud.
Oh,
He's the only one that I think out of all those characters, because all the other characters are pretty forgettable. In that sense, I think the only thing that made Cloverfield good is because of the event that was happening around them. Whereas this has the event happening around them, and the characters are interesting. Every single one of them, 3 characters. You know, one so evil, another one you really feel for and want to escape, and then there's Howard as well. Not Howard, Emmett. That's really, you know, like that wanting to help.
Right.
So yeah.
I think that the characters in these films are the strong points, even across the board. I'll say, I just think that they follow a formula, like I said, about like the broken relationships and stuff, and I think that ultimately it just comes down to the script, and so that's why I'm disappointed in Paradox, because I just feel like you know what? I feel like the issue isn't even the script. I think it's just like they tried to put so much more stuff in the film that didn't need to be in it, and that's a post-production problem, because they were like, hey, let's connect it in more ways. And these films, Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane, they just stand so well on their own. And so I think that's also mainly due to the characters. So, I don't know. I just love this one and the first one so much. But this film, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a huge Twilight Zone junkie, but I just love it so much.
Oh, I just got an email from that guy who made Megan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they messaged me about it.
Cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll have to give that a look. I don't... Alright, yeah,
what if it's like, hey, you want to talk about it in a video?
Yeah, well, he's just, like, messaged a couple of stuff, and he's saying, alright, so he's giving me a bit of information. That's pretty cool. I won't mind.
Well, did you email him first, or did he just...
No, he emailed me yesterday, and he's just replied to it, on my channel, just like, I don't know when he replied. Oh, he replied today, yeah. Literally must have been an hour or so before I commented. Oh, that's great.
Huh.
I'll have
if
to
you haven't seen Megan, then check that out. Like
well, this
said,
guy,
it's fantastic.
yeah, definitely check out Megan if you haven't already, because he brought up Dan Trachtenberg, how he made a proof of concepts for Portal No Escape, and that's how he ended up making a movie for 10 Cloverfield Lane. So,
I mean, hey,
this is a proof of concept, Megan. So you never know, they might move on to make an actual Cloverfield movie.
That'd be pretty cool. They definitely have the talent and the passion for it.
They definitely do.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for listening to this commentary track. I'm Frame by Frame, and I'm with Inside of Mind. So
yes,
I guess
subscribe to my channel.
Mine too. And I guess
you can subscribe to him afterwards. It's just mine first, of course.
And call Bad Robot and see if J.J. Abrams is there. So.
Make sure, ask if J.J. Abrams is there.
Do that. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this commentary track. It was a lot of fun, and until next time, I'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.